Good morning, Gasser Nation. Tommy here. Wanted to give you guys a rundown of the Aces I-57 Chevy Gasser build. This is going to be a kind of a long-term project on our Facebook and on our YouTube channel. So we're going to do build videos step by step along the way. This is a 1957 Chevy Bel Air two-door hardtop car. It's been in my family since the early 80s. My great-uncle Dopey purchased this car. My dad, my great-uncle Spud, and my great-uncle Dopey kind of did a driver quality restoration in the early 80s. Finished it probably around 84 or so, which is before I was born, in fact. So this car was driven for a few years, and then it was parked. He passed away, and my great-uncle Spud kind of took control of the car, drove it a bit, but it kind of went downhill. It sat for a while. It got a bit rusty, to be honest. So after my great-uncle Spud passed away, my dad got it, and here it is. We brought it up to the shop, got it stripped down, completely stripped down, took it and had it media blasted. So it's just kind of bare bones car right now. And what we're going to do is got to detail you guys what I'm going to do with the car and what my plans are for it. We're going to take you guys step by step along the way, and I don't have a lot of money, so this is going to be a bit of a budget build. So I'm going to show you guys some ways that you can save some money building a car, some shortcuts, easy ways that you can do it and kind of get the look that you want. And that's kind of the goal of this whole thing. So the car itself, the idea for the build, is a late 60s, early 70s Gasser. It's going to be an A-arm front suspension. I've got a 30 over 427 big block Chevy, all iron, old school build, but it's a 12-to-1 compression. It's a pretty stout little motor for what it is. A Doug Nash 5-speed magnesium case, stuff that we swapped and traded for over the years. I knew that this car was going to get built, so I've been gathering up parts for that many years for it. Just swap meets and swapping and trading and stuff like that. Try to do it with, little to no money, but, either way you go, it's going to cost a bit of money to build something like this. So got that. It's going to be ladder bars, coilovers on the rear end, 9-inch Ford, and like I said, A-arms on the front. I'm going with ball joint spacers and 409 wagon springs. That's the way they did it in the old school. So once you put the big block in it, it's going to smash it down. The car's probably going to have more of a level stance. I really went back and forth a lot on whether or not to cut the quarters. My original plan was to run like a skinny slick on the back, like a 7-inch wheel with a 9-inch slick, and tuck them in the quarters. I actually bought a pair of brand new replacement quarters for the car because the quarter panels are rough. But then I decided, I was like, I want to go with a little more of a radical look, So I'm going to cut the quarters on this car. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Like I said, they're rough. They're not really worth saving, so it's not hurting them to cut them at all. So I'm going to cut them, and I'm going to put probably some 16-inch magnesium wheels on it, 16 by 11s with a fair size tire, 31-inch tall tire, and kind of get that nasty, aggressive look out of it, and that's kind of what you want out of one of these cars. Just showing you guys around some of the other parts that I have. That's a 34 Ford Nervine. Some of you might see that in some of the other videos here on the channel. We're going to do some more with it later on, but right now it's just kind of sitting out here. We're trying to get a spot cleared out that we can put it inside and get it out of the weather, but it's been in the weather since the early 70s, so it's rusty. But like I said, we'll do some more on it at a later date. On to some of the other stuff that I've gathered up. This is a original Lakewood roll bar that I found. It's pink. It was in like a kind of a pro street car. It came out of a 56 Chevy Pro Street car. A buddy of ours does chassis work, and he had a car come in and it had this in it, and I was like, man, I gotta have it because it's just gonna be correct for what I'm going for. So I'm gonna sand it down and grind some of the extra stuff they put on it and paint it back red. And I think Cassandra Hicks said she could hook me up with a Lakewood, like an original Lakewood sticker, so we're gonna put that on it and roll with that. And like I said, the car is really not going to be fast enough to need a certified cage or anything like that, so this will do just fine. Like I said, I'm really just going for the look anyway. A few more of my parts and pieces here. I just drug out the motor today, and we're going to run it to run the crank and the heads of the machine shop and get them kind of checked out. But this is the cam that came with it. It's a decent size. It's going to do well for what we want to do. That's the caps. It's a 454 2-bolt block, but I'll go more into that in a moment. Go into the back room here and show you my that's my pistons and a few other parts that we got with the motor. And like I said, I'll go into more on that in just a moment. But here's my Doug Nash. We had it apart and just kind of checking it out, but everything looks good on it. So we just got to get it stuck back together, and we're going to go ahead and get the engine assembled and get the bell housing, the clutch bell housing, transmission, and everything all put on it in one piece. And then hopefully in the meantime we'll get the car around here in the shop and we'll start kind of hammering away on it, trying to figure out. We thought about doing motor plates to mount the engine, but I think we're kind of leaning back toward just some solid mounts now, because that'll just cut down on fabrication time and stuff. And like I said, I mean, it's not going to make that much of a difference. So yeah, that's the Nash. I'm not really sure what to think of. I thought about going with automatic in the car, and we had a Super T10, and we ended up trading it off, or selling it, and then going and taking that money and buying this Nash. And I know it's stronger than the aluminum case Super T10, so we'll just see how well it holds up. I'm not going to be making a ton of power, so I think it ought to do all right. All right, here's the engine. We ran up on it several years ago, and it was apart. But my dad actually thinks it may have been in one of my great uncle's old race cars, old Chevy that he had, and I think this might actually be the same engine. But it's a 454 2-bolt block, and it's a 427 rotating assembly, so it's pretty decent. 427 crank and rods. Like I said, it's nothing real exotic, but I mean it's a pretty healthy old school build. So just got to kind of go over all this stuff. Like I said, it's just been apart and sitting. Looks like somebody went ahead and put new cam bearings in this, and I'm just gonna clean it up real good and try to hone it and see if the cylinders clean up. And hopefully they do. They're not super rusty or anything, so I think that'll be all right. And got the crank here. I'm gonna run it to the machine shop today and let him check it out. It was pretty good, but it did get a little surface rust, but it had already been polished and looked like it was probably ready to go in. But it's a pretty decent crank, you know, factory 427 crank. That I believe is a truck crank is what it was, so they say they're pretty decent. And these are some 291 casting rectangle port heads. You know, pretty, like I said, pretty decent. You know, just old school build. I'm gonna run these up to the machine shop today and let him check them out and see if we need springs or valves or anything like that, and make sure everything's good for the cam I got. And once we get those back, then we probably can go ahead and start assembling. I'm gonna go ahead and order bearings and you know, some gaskets and stuff like that, and have all that stuff here ready. And hopefully, with a little luck, those won't need anything, and we can just go on together with them and not have to spend much money. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to the first episode. I know it's probably kind of boring. There wasn't much going on, a lot of talking. I just wanted to take this first episode and explain to you kind of what I had going on and my ideas for the build, and show you guys what I'm working with as far as parts and stuff like that goes. Some of this stuff was filmed a little while back, so my plans have kind of changed in certain different ways. So, but you'll see that coming up too. So just stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Catch these on Facebook, but like I said, we're going to be shifting a lot of these videos over to YouTube more. So be sure to catch us on there. Subscribe, like, all that stuff helps us out. And like I said, you'll be seeing a lot more of this, where we try to do a video, you know, every couple weeks, or maybe every few weeks, something like that. So be sure you just stay tuned and keep a lookout. And the next few videos will actually have some work getting done and some action, as we could say. So, but thank you guys so much for supporting this deal, and we'll have more for you soon.